All right, joining us to discuss still is former prosecutor and criminal and civil defense attorney Randolph Rice. Randolph, do you have a problem with this particular witness telling us about this defendant, about his lifestyle choices, as well as his sexual preferences? Do you have any issues at all with that testimony? There was some objection by the defense, but it was overruled by the judge.
I do, and I think the defense attorney should have been objecting even more. And I think that, unfortunately, though, the judge seems to not care what the defense's objections are because he keeps overruling them, but at least make the record for the appeal and object to every single thing this detective is saying, because he is taking hearsay information, he's taking irrelevant information, he's coming to conclusions about the definitions in black laws or urban dictionaries, and that's just not what this detective should be there for, and the defense should be objecting more.
Yeah, it seems like speculation to me as to what a lot of this really meant. But I think this is obviously it's a delicate case given the sexuality issues that are arising from all these different witnesses. But Randolph, as a former prosecutor, do you have to lean into all of that to make your version of this is what happened and why it happened make sense to a jury?
In my opinion, this is a very thin case for the prosecution, mainly because we have no body and we ultimately have no DNA or no, thing connecting the victim, Mr. Lee and Mr. Herrington, to each other than the fact that maybe some communications. I mean, look, there are some factors that are a bit suspicious, the wheel and the Snapchats and the Instagrams, but not having that body and not having some sort of circumstantial evidence that there was a death and ultimately Mr. Herrington was connected to that, I have a real problem with that, and I'd be worried as a prosecutor.
Yeah,
wow, I'm shocked. Yeah. I'm shocked because in particular, this particular witness really sort of tightened up the bow for me. And the reason I say that is because you can see the sort of timeline. So many of the cases that we have here, Randolph, have to do with timelines. And you can say that there's no body and there's not enough evidence connecting them to the actual death. But when you look at the timeline of events, the Snapchats, what they were saying to each other, the fact that he was on his way to his house, the fact that he goes into where he lives, he's never seen again, but you see the defendant or you see the guy's car driving back to the place, you see the defendant running away from it, then you have the wheelbarrow and you have the shovel. All of those things put together in a timeline, I think creates a very good case.
Michael, I think you're right, and I think right now it looks like a good case, but remember, the prosecution gets to go first, and then the defense gets to go, and the defense gets to pick holes or poke holes in that case, and they're doing a good job right now. But I think once the defense gets up there and starts to make the argument of, we have no body, we don't know if he's actually dead, these are all coincidences, there are a million other reasonable explanations as to what happened to Mr. Lee, I think that they might find reasonable doubt in this case.
Wow, that's going to be an interesting, because I hadn't really looked at it from that perspective. So now put your criminal defense hat on, Randolph, and what do you think is the most important thing the defense can do? Not just poking holes, is there anything else you would do?
Well, I think they need to establish the fact that there is no body. That's really important. Obviously, this case, there were a lot of other witnesses or other people that were suspects that maybe the police didn't look hard enough at. So maybe they try to push some more blame onto that. Look, it's going to be tough. I agree, Judge. It's a tough case for the defense, but I just don't see it right now. Maybe we see more as the week goes on, but right now it's a little thin to me.
All right, we're going to see what happens as we continue to watch it unfold. Thank you so much, Randolph Rice, for joining us with all your expertise.
All right, folks.